Hi everybody, welcome back to those who've been hanging with me for a while, and welcome to all new people have found me, which by the way brings me to probably how some of you found me, which is from which is which from the Witch of Wonderlust. Thank you so much to Olivia for giving me that shout out, and thank you for those who have contacted me and said they were sent over to my channel through her. Appreciate it. So today we're gonna get into it. Okay, you guys have asked many times, how do I open up the third eye and see the other side? So that's what we're going to be doing today. However, I have a new mic that I want to test out. So let's test out this new cool vintage looking mic.
Your lips are moving, but I don't hear what you're saying.
Yeah, it's kind of not.
How about a news flash? It's a ghouls night out. You know, I can lip sync too.
Okay, so you're gonna see a few of these this month because I love these. I love these, like, kind of, I don't know why I love them. I think it's because I talk to the spirit realm and I've had them do some really funky things through technology, through my iPad, through my phone, and I don't know, I just love it. It's kind of like old school Halloween. So yeah, I'll probably do a few of those because I have a few of these type of things. Behind me I have my skull candle that I dressed burning when I did a seance. Speaking of seance, I'm going to be doing a seance this month at the Alexandria Hotel. They have a bar called the Wolves, and I'm doing two on Halloween night. One at 9:30 to 10:30, and then again at 11:30 to 12:30. You can go over to their Instagram. I'll put it in the description if you want to get tickets for that if you're in the LA area. All right, let's get to it. So you're like, okay, Adela, okay, Adela, okay, Adela. Let's get to it. How to open your eye and see the other side. Well, you know me, I like to keep it simple and to the point and not make it all, you know, complicated and crazy for you. And also, this is to open up your third eye to see the other side, but it is also how to open up your third eye, period, right? Because to open up your third eye, you need it to see the future, to see that realm in general is what I'm saying. And is the third eye a real thing? The pineal gland, they have definitely proven we have one. There's been some kind of talk, and I'm not going to say I can quote all the perfect facts on this, but I know when I was on the Bigfoot Collectors Club podcast, you know, Bryce Johnson, who's really into the subject, kind of covered this before, and it is true. It was one of the episodes I did with them. It is true that we do have something in here. Cats are on time. Really? It is true that we have something, you know, in pineal gland, and it is true well, they have said that maybe there was a time where we utilized it, or maybe it's something we need to utilize. And I know that this is going to look weird, but as I've been reading now, I used to kind of swear I saw this more dented, but I think now when I'm doing this, I'm like, maybe I'm just making it look that way. I don't know. But I do feel, I will say that when I'm reading a lot, and I went to Montana for a few days and I did like 8 readings a day, private readings, and I did a gallery where I read everybody in that room of 15 people doing medium readings, and I did classes. And even when I have a full day of reading, I'll feel that pressure here, and when I teach people and take them on this journey to open up and raise their vibrations, people feel it here. Okay, so we're going to cover that whole thing. Like, is this a thing? If you don't know what the pineal gland is, you should look it up, but it is actually a gland that we have that we don't activate, that they say. And I believe, and you guys can tell me in the comments, but I'm pretty sure, I think that TMD, is that right? I think that might even be supposedly released if you take TMT, which is like a, you know, hallucinogen med that you can help open up your sight. Think that this is kind of, we have almost a natural source of that. But don't quote me, because I'm not that person. I'm going to tell you how to open this up more from an intuitive sense. Okay, so first of all, you have to kind of get to know who you are. I know that sounds not so exciting, but what I mean by that is you have to know how you tick, how you see things, in the sense of what kind of takes you there. So if you look back at yourself when you're younger, and even now, you might have those times, to say, like when you were a kid and you're like staring out the window and you're in a car and you're kind of zoning out and you're kind of doing this. Or some people like getting tickled on their back. Wow, my cat's really going to town. Tickled on their back or something, and they kind of zone out and you kind of like let yourself drift. Well, the third eye and opening up the third eye is about seeing the realm behind this world, seeing the world behind the world. And how you see the world behind the world is you can't get caught up in the mind. People want real explanations, in the sense of like, do I do A, B, C, 1, 2, 3? What do I need to do? Yeah, my iPad shook because my cat decided to jump up on the table. She's being really bold, and I'm using the mic. There you go. To just like guide her down gently. Just, hey, you might want to go this way or that way. Just to show her which way to go. But if you, it's seeing the world behind the world. And so one of the things that people get caught up the most is thinking about it and planning for it. And it isn't one of those things. It's one of those things that you have to kind of almost turn a piece of you off, your mind off. Now, it's not hypnosis, and actually meditation grounds you so much that you're more here, and you don't want to be here. So if you lay down and if you put on music, or if you don't want to put on music, or if you're into nature, or if you're someone, some people like adrenaline, like running, or, you know, jogging or walking, or something kind of gets the juices flowing, and you kind of start to look and let your thoughts, well, look, I'll tell you in a minute, but you let your thoughts run and run and run, and you let them take you. So what you can do is focus on seeing something beyond here. What I mean by that is, let's say you're looking at a tree, or you're looking at a car, or you're looking at a person. You want to let yourself drift in beyond what you're actually seeing. So the first thing you feel, you say, okay, I'm looking at this person, they're dressed in this perfect outfit, they look perfect, but I have this sense about them that something is drifting me more towards the idea of maybe they're sad, maybe there's something going on with them. And so if you look at it in that way, and if you practice it, because this is what people don't understand, you have to practice. Let me repeat. Practice. You have to practice. What I mean by practice is, you can have a gift. When people are saying to me, here, let me get my Wonder Woman cup. Yes. You can have a gift and you can have abilities, but if you're not honing them, if you're not putting them into play, you're not going to develop them. So you do things like, you can go and find your way. Okay, what is the way that I kind of let myself drift out? I let myself kind of start to see something and feel something. So here's the other thing. Third eye does not mean visions. Okay? You don't have to get visions. Visions come pretty difficult for people. What I mean by that is that some people right away, maybe they're just seeing visions all the time. Okay, great. But it's really feeling. And if you are getting feelings first, then you are opening your third eye. When people are always teaching people to open up your third eye, and you're going to see this, and you're going to meditate. I mean, it's just kind of ridiculous and kind of long, like complicated way of teaching people. Actually, when I'm doing readings, I feel everything come through me, and then the visions come. And by the way, it took a while for the visions to get really, really clear. I mostly felt, and I kind of heard telepathically things, and then the visions got stronger and stronger and stronger. Okay, so I'm going to link this video, I want you to see remote viewing because it is connected to what I'm talking to you. Watch that video because remote viewing is part of the vision part of learning how to see the future, present, and past, okay? And so watch that one to help, and raising vibrations to help you with this. That's why I'm doing these videos in little slices of subjects so I don't overwhelm people. So you see this one and it connects to this one and it connects to that one, and then you develop your own recipe of what works for you. However, if you're getting feelings, if you're like in a place and you say, I just have this feeling, and it just feels like I'm like riding a horse and I don't know, I'm somewhere else and I feel like the dust, and you're like, but I'm clearly looking around that I'm standing like in a mall, outside mall, and you allow yourself to feel that, then the visions come later as you more and more develop. So let's say you have that feeling and you're not quite sure, why am I feeling this way? This feels kind of odd. I know I'm at this outside mall. And then you need confirmation. Confirmation is very important to develop your third eye, believe it or not, because the more you kind of go and you look it up and you're like, oh, that's trippy. That mall used to be some, you know, Western area or whatever, just making up, in this area that used to be, you know, this or that. Then you get your confirmation, and then you go, okay, so now let me test that out again. So if you start with feeling first, because honestly, when I do readings, the feeling overtakes me and I'm kind of dropped into it. Like if I'm doing an intuitive reading, I'm dropped into your energy sphere. And then I kind of start seeking out and the visions come. When I'm doing medium reading, I feel the person first. They feel kind of sassy and this and that. And then all of a sudden I kind of see their sassiness, because telepathic communication and third eye has to do a lot with feeling. And then you start to kind of see past a pixelated world, this world, and you start to see what's behind it. But don't underestimate feeling, okay? Also, very important is practice. Practice with yourself first. Like I said, you can go somewhere and you can kind of see what your senses are. What people expect is like, oh, I must not be good enough, or I must not have this strong enough because I just feel things but I don't see things. When I even do these seances, I'm actually ripping the gates open so everyone can feel like I'm holding back, you know, usually when I'm doing readings, that energy around people so they're not overwhelmed, because believe me, people get overwhelmed very quickly in these situations. So everyone could feel all the energy that's coming at them. So people do tend to experience that. So what I'm trying to say is, if you allow yourself to kind of go, okay, I'm standing in this room, but I know there's more to this room. And I'm not talking about haunting or past residual energy. I'm talking about going, well, kind of, it's not really past residual, but it's using kind of your sight to go into the past. It's almost like you're there. As I believe, there is no time, and time is something we structured here because that's what we help us understand this world. But in the other realm, there is no time, and that world is kind of watering effect into this world. So what I'm trying to say is, simply feel what you're feeling and let it rise up into you, and maybe even write it down. And then the more you write it down, then you might be able to kind of keep track. Well, I felt this when, you know, I was testing this out. And if you're not afraid of cemeteries, because the only reason why I say that, not because there's something more magical about cemeteries, but it's really more because people go to cemeteries to talk to spirits. So spirits, like if you want to use this for the spirit part, people go to cemeteries to talk to spirits. So spirits kind of know this, and so they're like, hey, cool, I'll hang out with you here, right? Kind of thing. Okay. If you're wanting to use this to see about other people, then again, practice on people. You can do it on strangers. When I was a little kid, I used to actually sit and kind of just see things about people. I didn't know what I was doing then. And then I would sometimes listen to the conversation, and some of the things I would like try to strain and hear something they'd say out loud to confirm the things I was feeling. Also, you can just practice on friends, but it always has to be permissionable. It has to be permissionable. But practice, because this is a muscle that you're honing. And it's not just here, it's here. It's all of you that you're honing, and you have to hone and hone and hone and get it stronger. So don't get impatient if you said, okay, I didn't feel anything. And you go, because your mind tends to get into the way. The other thing you could do, this is the last thing I'm just suggesting, but like I said, first start off with you and you know you. If you're like, listen, I'm not going to sit here and meditate, it's not my thing. But when I run, I tend to zone out. When I cook, I tend to zone out. Then you can kind of use that to connect. Okay, lastly, you can get a piece of paper, and if you're using this to talk to that other realm, pick someone close to you, meaning someone who had passed that you know, that you feel like you know, and you can use it, because it's pretty much all Ouija boards are, by the way. It's just that Ouija boards kind of turned into like a free-for-all. But if you have like a piece of paper and a pen, and you say, okay, Mom, I want to hear from you, the first thing that pops into your mind, first thing, even if it makes no sense, because that's how you know you're opening your sight. Your sight will make no sense, whereas your mind will tell you that's bloody blob. And the first thing you hear, write it down. And then you say, okay, let's say you say to your mom, have you seen me graduate or whatever, which obviously I'm pulling from my own thing in life. And the first thing you hear, maybe you'll hear something to say, you know, the bird was beautiful. And you're like, what the hell is that? You just write it down. Then you say, what do you mean? And then she says, the bird I sent. And you say, the bird I sent. And then you might start remembering, okay, yeah. But you can also ask about future things from that realm. But the first thing you hear, but you have to flourish it out, because of what happens a lot, even readers tend to do this. Readers tend to give people hits, but they don't give them a full, excuse me, I'm getting excited, more Wonder Woman power. They don't tend to get a full explanation. You want the full explanation. People get hits, but they don't get the full understanding. So you keep asking until you feel like, okay, I think I've reached my max. And I think that's all I'm getting. Practice. Hone. And that's how it gets stronger. And that is what I mean by, there was a time where I could only read 2 people a day. I could only read 1 person a day at first. You know, what I'm doing now is years and years of practicing and honing and reading and getting to a place I can do what I do. And it is the same for you. I know that we all have a different level of how we connect to that realm, and I know that mine was pretty strong from the get-go. And like I've always said to people, everyone can play piano, but not everyone's going to be a professional piano player, right? So what I'm saying is, you can talk to that realm, but not everybody's supposed to do it professionally. Professionally means you're taking very big responsibility for other people's feelings and lives, and you got to be extremely ethical and extremely sure, and you don't take it lightly. It's not something to take lightly. But for yourself, and you're communicating and opening this third eye, you can. And also for your intuition, and I'll probably do one on honing your intuition. You know, I think I did, you know, raising vibrations, but maybe I'll do one just on honing intuition. So I hope that made sense. Before we go,
don't just walk by, say something creepy.
have a great rest of your day or night or whatever is happening in your life. Also, you can follow me on here, of course, and please subscribe, and also do comments, because I do actually comment back. I love being in contact with everybody and communicating. That's why I do this. You can follow me on Instagram, Adele Levine. Everything on social media is Adele Levine, but I'm mostly here on Instagram. I'm not big on Twitter. And also the Witch and the Medium podcast that I co-host with Mystic Dylan. You can catch us on there. Thank you guys so much. I'll put in the description if you're interested in coming to the seance. Also my website, adelelevine.com. Follow yourself, follow no one, listen to that inner voice, listen to who you are. Spiritual teachers are only here to unlock and then see you fly. See you soon.